So a little background first. I met my girlfriend about 7 months ago while I was in my first year of college and she was in her last year of high school. She is originally from China and moved to the country I live in about 3 years ago for school. Right now she is back in China for a few months to visit her family before she starts college. Today I got off work and noticed my girlfriend had messaged me a ton on a Chinese social network. It was strange to me since she had gone to sleep at around 9 a.m. my time and told me she'd be up at around 4 p.m. It said she had sent me a ton of messages around 1 p.m. Normally she would not do anything like this, so I knew something strange was up. So I opened my phone thinking she likely just had a bad dream or something, but nothing prepared me for what I was about to see. She messaged me in a very distressed and confused tone, saying that I should look on this Chinese forum post this anonymous guy sent her. There was photos of us on there. At first I thought she just meant photos of the Chinese forum post, but suddenly I felt my whole body freeze up because of what I saw. Photos of us, hundreds of them, taken by someone else. The first few creepy photos had looked like someone had just taken them from behind us while we were walking together. The more I scrolled, the creepier it got. Photos of us at the park, on the bus, at the movie theater, at the mall, at a restaurant, and pretty much every single public place I have ever been with her. I was creeped out completely at this point. This person seemed to have taken photos of us every time we went on a date together, but it got worse. I scrolled more and found photos of just me using a stall in a public washroom. It looked like they had taken it by putting their camera over the wall on the stall beside me. Then there was photos of the exact same thing, but with my girlfriend. I felt sick to my stomach looking at these, but then I saw the worst photos of them all. Photos of us in my room hanging out, sleeping together. My room was on the 5th floor of the residence at the college. It had no buildings facing it. I normally kept my blinds open all the time because I liked the sunlight and did not fear anyone looking in it. It looked like it was taken from a similar height my room was at. The only thing was, I don't think they could have taken these photos without using something ridiculous, like a helicopter if they had incredible zoom. I asked my girlfriend if she had ever noticed anyone stalking us, and she said no. I have no idea how we never noticed this person stalking us everywhere. It seems to be only one person that did this, since the photos of me and my girlfriend individually never seem to occur during the same time. I am currently trying to contact authorities about this, but I am unsure of how much they could help, or even if they can find out who stalked us. So creepy stalker person with a camera, let's not meet. My boyfriend Tyler and I had recently received a gift to a local food place and I decided to go there to eat one day. It was only 2 miles away from our apartment and located near our college campus. It was a nice day and we decided to walk there. We walk around town a couple of blocks every night, so 2 miles seemed like nothing. We started heading out and joking about the houses or odd people we saw along the way. I remember seeing a guy in a white shirt wearing a backpack and heading the opposite way on the other side of the street. I believe I only noticed him because he had an annoyed look on his face, and wearing a backpack was out of place unless one was taking summer classes. We continued on, avoiding the main roads and major highway through the town, even though it would have been a more direct path. We passed a few other people and heard some coughing behind us. I assumed it was just the bikers or joggers we passed, until it kept happening. I glanced behind me to see who was coughing away every so often, only to see it was the guy in the white shirt with the backpack. It was a little strange as he was previously heading the opposite way from us. We took another random turn as I wanted to see one of the local high schools that had recently been in the news. As we were passing it, I heard the coughing again. He had followed us. Now I was starting to get nervous because the turns we were making weren't exactly going to any specific place. Tyler was also starting to get on edge. I had my purse on me and he told me to stand on the other side of him to keep it between us. Out of nervousness, I started talking loudly, pointing out interesting things along the way while whispering to Tyler that I was getting scared, and we took an indirect path to it. He was still trailing us, step for step. I was about ready to cry and run up to the nearest strangers for help. We slowed down our steps and started walking closer to families. He took this time to head into the men's bathroom, since we were no longer by ourselves. Tyler and I quickly ran as far away from the park as we could get and hid behind some bushes. Seconds later, he emerged from the bathroom and was looking around, confused and upset. He then turned and started walking back the way he originally came from. This happened to me last year on my birthday. I had a few friends around to sleep in my 6-person tent. Whilst I was setting up the tent, my dad came into the garden and told me and a few friends to be careful, as he had seen a shady-looking man in a baseball cap slowly walking up and down my street like he was checking out my house. It was about 1 a.m. when me and my friends were sitting on my patio at the table, just talking about random stuff, when I heard rustling in my neighbor's garden. I didn't find this too unusual because it was summer and I lived in a rural area in the UK, and we had hedgehogs living nearby. Then I noticed the shape of somebody's body emerging from the bushes. It was a man in a baseball cap. One of my friends asked what the fuck he was doing there, but there was no answer. We asked again and he chuckled and left through my neighbor's gate. It was later on, about 4 a.m., and most of my friends were asleep, except me and my slightly older friend who was in the same year of high school as me. We were whispering to each other as we were trying not to wake everyone else up. I heard my neighbor's fence rattle as if someone had hopped over it. A few seconds later, we see a figure move past the window of the tent. I could barely make it out, but I distinctly remember seeing a hat in the moonlit window. He moved around the back of the tent, so I decided to wake everyone up and run back into my living room. A good half an hour passed when I heard police sirens outside. This wasn't possible as my mom was asleep and my dad worked nights. I looked outside to see 3 police officers in my garden where the tents were and my neighbor talking to another officer. After a few minutes of watching through my back door, the police walked out of my garden with a man in his early 40s in handcuffs. I saw my neighbor and he gestured for me to come outside. My friends followed behind and we spoke to him. He said that he was getting a glass of water from his kitchen when he saw a security light turn on from his garden. He quickly glanced over and saw a man hop over his fence and into my garden. He then called the police and they said that they would come over. After telling me this, a police officer walked over and informed me that the man they arrested was a burglar who had broken into multiple houses in the local area. What he said next still makes me shiver. They said they found him crouched in the corner of the tent with a large knife. He then advised me and my friends to get our stuff and sleep in the living room. By this time, my mom had been woken up by all the commotion, and she had come over and been given the same information. She called my dad and told him what happened. I don't think I will ever sleep in a tent again. Okay, so before I begin, this story took place in the mid-70s in a small suburb in New Jersey, about 30 minutes away from New York City, and it is not about me, but my uncle. As you may know, the 70s was a time of quote-unquote carelessness that my uncle and other members of my family describe as something society will probably never have again. People never locked their doors, children played amongst themselves with minimal supervision, and everyone had general trust of one another. That is rare in today's world for good reason. Now that I've given you some background on the story, it was the summer of 1975, and my uncle was 12 at the time. He would constantly be playing outside in the backyard or down the street with friends, but my grandmother would never let him go far. Since my uncle could remember, the mailman had always been friendly to him, always greeting him on his daily route to their house with a wave and a smile. My grandma would notice the small encounters while my uncle was playing with his friends in the yard, but it looked like a simple hello and goodbye, so she really never thought much of it. One day, a little girl reported to her parents the mailman had asked her if she wanted to go into his house. The girl's parents tipped off the police, and they started watching the man. Eventually they ended up searching his home, and inside they found hundreds of black and white photos of children in the neighborhood, including my uncle. The man was taken to jail, but was shortly released because they really didn't have much on him besides him being a major creep. The local post office soon fired him, and he moved away from the town. Since then, my uncle has never seen him or heard from him, and neither has any of his childhood friends. So creepy mailman, let's not meet, ever, please. Hey there guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much to anyone who helped me reach 100 channel views. Honestly, as weird as that may sound, I thought it would take weeks to get to this point. I hope you like this video, as my last video wasn't that good in terms of audio, but to be fair, I am still in a learning position. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a splendid rest tonight.